Okay, so I just have to get this out there. When I was at the trial of Lorivallow, I was talking to some different people who were there, true crimers like me, that are just, we love to investigate, we love to research, we love to see what's happening. And I have to say that I think that when those kids of Lori came missing, and a lot of people like me and you became interested in this story, we started combing the internet. We were watching everything. And because of that, the whole country kind of bound together and helped solve these crimes. There were so many things that were brought out in the trial that really, without the help of the, what do you say, backseat drivers, so to speak, they wouldn't have had this information. There's no way that law enforcement or the prosecutors could have gotten all the information that they were able to get. I think that true crime podcasters, YouTubers, whatever you want to say, are a help. I do believe that we as a society can help solve some of these crimes. For instance, I mean, just right down to the Lori putting things in that storage shed, and then you find out one of them was the tire that they pulled off for Alex to go and shoot at Brandon Boudreaux. I mean, there's a bunch of things like that. And I just think that's awesome. I love that everyone can help solve crimes, and I'm interested. I think this is a fun thing. I have to say that I was going to be done. Now that the Lorivallow-Daybell trial is over, I decided I could hardly breathe waiting for the verdict. But I was getting messages and messages from so many of you out there, and I appreciate it so much. But everyone was saying, what's next? What's next? And I don't know if I'm done. So maybe I'm going to become a true crimer. But for now, I want to see this one through. And that's why I want to talk about Lori's niece. And I don't think it's through until Lori's niece and Chad are held accountable for their part in this. So let's see what we can do. As a community, what can we do? I think that we can do more than we think. I just want to talk about Melani, and I think it's interesting when you look at the testimony that she gave, I'm saying this wrong. When you look at the interview that she gave, a few interviews, but when you look at the one in particular, and she mapped out all the things, a lot of questions were asked her, and she answered all these questions. And now that we've seen the text threads that were brought up in the case between her and Melani and Chad and Alex and all of this stuff, you realize, oh man, she was lying through her teeth on so many of the things. And I have to say, she was one good liar, because when I was watching that interview before, I kind of was falling for her. I was falling for it. But oh boy, do we know things are different. The one thing that I figured out, she's very much like her Aunt Lori, and that is, if she accuses someone of something, that's usually what she actually is doing. So when she's accusing Brandon of, you know, there's different interviews, but like she accuses him of possibly harming the children, like when she's like pounding on the door, trying to get her kids from the in-laws and blah, 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 because she thinks they're in danger. Look, they were in danger from her, because remember, as it came out in the trial, 2 of her kids were on the dark scale, which means zombie, which means, and she knew it. She knew it. So for her to act like, no, there was no cult, there was no zombies, that's all a joke. No, no. We now know she knew all of it, and she was buying into it, hook, line, and sinker. So let me show you the video, and then there's one thing that is interesting to me, and that is there were some videos done by different people in Lori's family, or in her circle, so to speak, and they were trusting her. There were neighbors that trusted Chad. There were family members. and family members that trusted Chad. They were 100% behind him until the kids were found. And then things changed. You can tell they changed a lot, especially when you look at Lori's sister's call to Lori when she was in jail, or her son Colby's call. No, they did not drink her Kool-Aid anymore, and they were so upset that they had been totally manipulated. But I think there was one person who didn't quite go down that track, and that is Melani Pawlowski. And the reason why I think that she is the one person, I'm going to tell you after I show you this clip and after the video. I'll tell you that at the end. But I have a suspicion, this is my own gut reaction, that she's still buying it. She's still drinking the Kool-Aid, and I feel bad. I feel bad for all of those around her. And I have to say, you'll see why I think that. And again, this is my opinion. But I have to say that it is a scary thing to think of all the things that her ex-husband, Brandon, had to go through, his kids, their kids, and the fact that I believe she has custody of those kids now. And when you see that last week we find out that she believed 2 of them were zombies, are they really safe? Are they safe today? That's the question I have. Are they safe today? Will she carry it out without Lori and Chad? Apparently not, but that's scary. That is so scary. And anyway, the reason why I think, nope, I'm going to tell it in a minute. First of all, let's watch some of the interview. And so you can see what I'm talking about with all of the lies and alibis. Let's take a peek at some of the whoppers Lori's niece Melani told.
My mom passed away when I was 9, and Lori is one of the closest things to her and how much love my mom showed me. So she's a friend, almost like a mother to me, and an aunt, and somebody that I love.
Is Lori being unfairly portrayed?
It's just not Lori that I see. I see a lot of hatred in the media and a lot of judgment. I see a lot of lies. I don't know where my cousins are, her children, JJ and Tylee, and I love all of them, and I know she's doing whatever she can to keep her kids safe, and I hope we can see how that turns out in the future as truth continues to come forward.
Yes, please. Truth is what we're looking for. Here's another question. Did anything seem strange to you in Rexburg?
Well, I moved out there right after my ex took my children from me. There's a lot of lies out there that I've abandoned my children, and it's simply not true. I didn't move down there to be in a cult. I didn't move down there to be solely by Lori. Lori's very independent and does her own thing, and I had my own reasons for, you know, kind of having a fresh start and trying to work through my custody battle with my ex.
Oh, really? Well, that's interesting. Well, then answer this question. Did you follow Lori to Rexburg?
I had my own reasons for going, and I love my Aunt Lori, and it absolutely was a benefit to be close to her. She's been somebody that's given me unconditional love.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that she does unconditional love. Didn't you ever wonder where your cousins were?
She was moving for their safety and for those threatening her, and to keep JJ and Tylee safe. This was a big move to try to, you know, kind of move forward after Charles was shot and to remain safe with the kids. So as soon as I move up there in November, I see some of their stuff, but I don't see them there. And Lori says that they're safe and they're doing everything they keep them from the people that are trying to harm them. I believe that.
Okay, if you believe that, did you think the children were zombies or in danger?
I didn't think they were in danger and didn't have those fears and doubts until this welfare check. And then Chad and Lori left. I didn't have contact with them, and I'm absolutely worried. I knew the threats that Lori had been getting, and I don't know what's going on. And so, as you know, being in a new marriage, I'm kind of dumping on him. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about this. Meanwhile, we have all these false accusations and questions about this supposed shooting that Brandon Boudreaux is claiming that happened. And I've yet to see evidence and facts that come forward with that, but you know, he's adamant about it's Alex Cox that shot at him, and there's been no evidence that I've seen. And for a time I worried, could my uncle have done that? He's so sure, and I've got my own father threatening me and intimidating me with text messages, and I did worry. But when it comes back to it, I know the person Alex is. I haven't seen any evidence, and Detective Pillar on Gilbert Police never even called Alex or, asked him to come in for a visit.
Did you have anything to do with the attempted murder of your husband, Brandon Boudreaux?
Absolutely not. And Brandon knows that.
So basically, you're telling me that Lori just has a lot of bad luck?
I can't attest to all those different events, but I do know that Charles was there with an agenda, and he was working with Brandon and with Kay, and things didn't go the way he thought.
Well, that's the understatement of the century, since he was shot and killed by your uncle that you knew was going to happen based on the text messages between you and Lori that were brought out during her trial.
Why is nobody asking why Charles had a $2 million policy on Lori?
Really? You're going to talk about insurance policies as a reason why? I mean, this is just gaslighting at its best.
Charles and Brandon did life insurance together, and there's a lot of things that haven't been brought to light, things that aren't being portrayed in the media. They're being hidden so we can run with this cult story and zombies, and it's more exciting than the truth, sadly.
Well, tell me this. Do you think you will see Tylee and JJ again?
I do. I absolutely do. I know Lori wouldn't ever do anything to hurt her kids.
At this point, Melanie's declaration is ridiculous because she already knows that they plotted to have Charles killed and carried it out. She also knows that they plotted to have Brandon killed because she is the one who gave him the address. There were only a few people that knew where Brandon even lived. She knew.
I've seen the pain that she's gone through and the abuse and betrayal. I've seen authorities let her down. I've seen court systems let her down. I don't have the answers as to why she does the things she does and why she hasn't spoken as to where they are. But I can't judge her because I don't know what she's going through. I can only love and support her and hope for everyone to be safe.
Okay, I did put some commentation over that because I just couldn't help myself. Wow. Now that we look back on that video and we realize there's so much that we know now, ay, ay, ay. And so here's my thinking. Once JJ and Tylee were found, Melani, the niece, put a post on Facebook. And I'm going to read you the post because, at least a part of it, I think that it is very significant to show where she is. Now remember, this is her Facebook post after Tylee and JJ were found buried in her aunt's new husband's backyard. I will try my best not to sound too sarcastic, but this is crazy time. Tylee loved to have fun and didn't draw into drama, but would use it as a platform for her comedy. Boy, could she make others laugh. She went through a lot of hard things in her life, and she didn't deserve what happened to her. No one does. I truly wish she could go on live television and tell her story, rather than anyone else who has and will in the future. Just know the stakes are set high from that girl. Okay, so far so good. But wait. I know I could never measure up in that regard. As we've all seen, I'm horrible on live television, and I would rather not do it ever again, or to have to talk publicly about trauma my family has gone through. I was always so impressed with Tylee's ability to express herself and communicate well. I wish she was here to clear up all the confusion for us. She would do it better than any of the rest of us could. Personally, I think that the children's remains do a pretty good job of telling the story, but let me continue on with the rest of the post. This is the part when I just got sick to my stomach when I read it. Tylee was one of the wittiest, spunkiest individuals I have ever had in my life. She didn't let what other people thought get to her. If you knew Tylee, she would probably be giving the biggest eye roll at all the drama unfolding in the media. To anyone using this terrible situation to express their hate and blame on others, she would probably tell you off because she was the sassiest thing ever and wasn't afraid to say how she felt. What kind of person, even in someone's death, would say, oh, they'd be upset that the media thinks it's ridiculous that they got murdered? I think that it is very significant to show where she is or was at that time. And she certainly, shows that even to this day, when she watched some of the testimony so she wouldn't have to be a witness, she was going to be a hostile witness, I think. And she's still drinking the Kool-Aid. Will there be charges? What do you think? Do you think that there could still be charges for her? I know there's still going to be the case of the attempted murder charges on Brandon, which is interesting because I didn't really know that until I was listening to the press conference, and Kay and Larry said there's still 4 more cases, one of them being the attempted murder for Brandon. And since the person who actually did the shooting, Alex Cox, is deceased, I didn't know if there would be a case. And I hope there is, because those conspirators should be tried for that too, in my opinion. What do you think? Do you think that it's possible that Melani is completely innocent and she was just a victim like a lot of other people? Or do you think there's more to the story? Comment below and let me know your opinion. Okay, thank you so much. Those are my opinions, and I definitely think that Melani, as Ricky from Lucille Ball used to say, she's got some splaining to do, that's for sure. All right, I'll see you on the other side. See ya.